Well, to be fair, I do too. So anyway, let me stream StreamYard to my Facebook people. Oops, I gotta set this up too.
Could you tell your TikTok people that I have a special affinity for Lakewood? It's my kind of town.
Oh my God, Dan, you're gonna get us in trouble. Dan likes Lakewood.
I like Lakewood. It reminds me a great deal of my hometown, Stockton. In fact, if you go down to Charter Way in Stockton, you go down to Charter Way, south of town, you could easily confuse it for Lakewood. I'm telling you, it's my kind of town.
I've been to Stockton.
That's better. Most people have been through Stockton, but not to Stockton. So you're one up on most folks.
Save changes. Okay. Hopefully that worked. I don't know. Hi, Facebook. Hi, YouTubers. It's always a mystery as to what's happening here in these live streams. Anyway, hi, TikTokers. Hi, Dan.
Oh, we're looking good, Kat. How are you?
I'm good. How the heck are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah.
How's things down in Renton?
Well, they're doing very good. Doing very good. We're still standing down here in Renton. They haven't burned the place down.
Good.
And good. It's going good. We survived the New Year's, the festivities, and you know, I'm not in jail. I didn't get arrested. All a plus.
What are we going to do with you, Dan? He leads off our live stream with the fact that he didn't wind up in jail.
Well, that's because I'm trying to earn trust. You know, I'm in the mortgage business, loans. Trust is very important. I want to make sure I'm not originating any loans from King County Prison. So I just want to make sure that's perfectly clear.
Okay. Well,
we're doing it here. We're doing it from a very reputable place. That's all I can say. Very reputable.
Very reputable. Nexa Mortgage.
Yes.
Dan Mellis.
Yes. Proudly carrying the banner. Yes, absolutely.
So hey, did you find the graphics we were looking for?
I did.
Oh, good.
Did. You know what? And as I was telling Kat before the show, we're probably going to have a little bit of a more abbreviated version today. I've got a few things going on, but there are some. But it's going to be super important. Super important. I tell you.
We got good info today. We got good insight, good info. Yep. I think you guys are going to want to stick around. It's not going to be a terribly long show, probably 30, 45 minutes at the most. So we'll try to buzz right through a few things so we can get to the good stuff. But you know what I like to ask Dan right up front?
Well, I'm usually the one asking the zingers, Kat. Now it's my turn to be on the receiving end. Go ahead. I'm ready.
You're going to love this one, Dan.
Do I beat my wife often?
Hey, no. Dan, how are interest rates doing?
Oh, interest rates. Very good question, Kat. I'll tell you what. If you can give me just a couple of minutes as we're going through this, I'm going to show you.
I caught him with his pants down, guys.
Well, to an extent, yes, you did. I mean, I have an answer, but I wanted to put the graphic together because I actually have a great graphic for that.
Good.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So let's get started on let's see what we have. Well, I don't know.
You want to talk about the counties?
Let's talk about the counties first. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. Okay, guys. So here we go. We're going to start off talking about what's going on in each county real estate wise, very current information. So King County, 1.1 month supply of inventory, and that is trending downwards. So the market is getting tighter and tighter, which means that the buyers are chewing up inventory in King County. So, we're getting dangerously close to that place where we should start to see more multiple offers. which I would anticipate within the next couple of weeks. So I'm sure we have a few going on right now out there, for the hottest properties. But we'll start to see a significant increase in that, I would imagine, unless interest rates go up. So 27% of sellers set offer review dates. 45% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between December 17th and December 23rd. And 53% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between December 3rd and December 16th. So a really strong sellers market. Not a lot of listings coming on the market, but for those listings that do come on the market, the new listings are getting all the attention, a lot of attention. And so it's creating a nice, strong sellers market in King County for new listings. Just let's qualify that. So
wait a minute, what'd you just say? 4 new listings?
It's a strong sellers market for new listings.
Oh, for new listings.
Yes. So if you've missed the mark a little bit, or you didn't quite get under contract within the first 14 to 30 days, you're probably looking at potentially doing a price reduction to get new attention on your property. That's just kind of how it works.
Well, you explained it great last time in our last live stream, is that basically realtors have been conditioned just to look at new listings, right? New listings.
Realtors and buyers, right?
And
so we've all really been conditioned in the recent years to really focus on the new listings coming on the market. And that's because the best properties have been selling within the first 7 to 14 days. And so we've kind of been conditioned to say that, hey, everything else is either overpriced or not in nice selling condition. And so that's not exactly true at this time of year. However, it is interesting that our primary focus is on the new listings coming up this next week, So it's an interesting phenomenon. I think it's relatively new. And I think, over the last few years, it's kind of the new norm in the real estate industry. And unless we have, a true market softening across the board for an extended length of time, I don't think that's going to change. I think most of the attention going forward will be on the new listings coming on the market. So,
well, and it's awfully tough to have, some sort of weakness when you've got like 1 month's MSI supply or 0.8 months of supply, and 50% of the houses getting under contract in like
that's right,
7 years or something like that. I mean,
yeah, we've got 45% getting under contract within the first 45% of sellers are getting under contract within the first 7 days on the market in both King and Snohomish counties. And like I said last week, those are sort of getting closer to spring numbers. They're certainly not reflective of early January, but as we go through the month of January, I expect those numbers to continue or to start to increase even. So unless we see interest rates spike. Carter, are you out there? I think I just saw you come on. Hey, buddy. Anyway, so going forward, I think we're going to see a lot more multiple offers. We have a funny little window in the market right now. We have an opportunity for buyers, barely. It's
a funny little window that we
are going to narrow window.
We are going to be addressing today, right? We're going to be talking about stuff today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this later today as well. But I just want to throw it out there. The idea of buying low and selling high is sort of a phenomenon that you could potentially take advantage of right now if you were ready to purchase now or in the next few weeks, because you could perhaps swing a bridge loan, go ahead, make a non-contingent offer on the home you want to buy. So either a larger home or a different area, whatever the case may be. And then turn around, get that house ready for market, move into your new house, and maybe put the current residence on the market in March or April. And so what the numbers show me in Snohomish and King counties is that we have a swing in average sales price of 9.7% from January to June in Snohomish County. That swing is 12.7% on average from January to June in King County. And now that is for, I believe that was the last 12 years, right? That was from 2012 to 2023. So that's 12 years of data that I crunched. It's still, even if you go back further than that, it's significant, goes down a couple percentage points. But in our years of growth since the 2008 crisis, this is where we've been. And that bore out this last year in 2023. We had overall in Snohomish County, I believe it was a 16% increase in home sales prices. So even though we were in a year of increasing interest rates, we still had average sales prices go up significantly in Snohomish County. So kind of crazy.
I want to give a special shout out to the Cat Howard graphics team for the graphics that we have today.
It's the Cat Howard's graphic team of one.
Yeah.
Me, yours truly. Me and Canva.
You make a great team. You make a great team.
Me and Canva. Anyway, I love Canva most of the time. Anyway, but anyway, just, that whole thing about, buying low and selling high normally does not apply. And it's kind of a pie in the sky kind of an idea. But at this point in the market right now, you have still another small sliver of a window, maybe. So no guarantees in January, I got to tell you, because things usually start to take off. And we saw pretty strong December for home sellers for the new listings. I think there are quite a few listings still on the market that, have probably experienced some price reductions that you could still get a good value on in January.
Right.
And that inventory will start to get chewed up over January and February. And then we really start to see, all the new inventory by March. We may see 80-90%.
What inventory is going to get chewed up? The 8 houses that are currently on the market?
There's more than 8, Dan. There's 9. King County inventory is way down, and so is Snohomish County inventory.
It's really tight.
Yeah, for instance, last week we had 20 homes being listed in Snohomish County during a week, the week between Christmas and New Year's. It was 20 houses went on the market, yeah, and not a lot more than that came on the following week. And the same in King County, is like 40 something houses got listed, so not a lot of homes getting listed, but the ones that are being listed are being snapped up at a good pace. Not reflective really of the rest of the market, but MSI is down. Month supply of inventory is down for King County and Snohomish County. King County being 1.1 and Snohomish County is at 0.8, and it's at the low end of 0.8 now. So it has also, their inventory has also shrunk the past week.
Whoa.
Let's do Snohomish County. What about that, Dan?
Let's go to Snohomish County. I'd love to hear about Snohomish County.
Okay, Snohomish County, 0.8 month supply of inventory.
Do you see my heart shape?
I see Dan's shooting us a heart, guys. So that goes to you guys, TikTok land here. There we go. I passed your heart along, Dan.
There you go.
So, okay. All right.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So only 7% of sellers set offer review dates in Snohomish County, which I would expect. It was, it's holiday time. We're technically past holiday time now, although I'm not. You can see my Christmas tree.
Well, with the Christmas tree as good looking as that one, you need to keep it up until March.
I gotta milk it. I gotta milk it. It's pretty. I like it.
It is pretty.
It's
very, very pretty.
Anyway,
I like the one with the beauty. Anyway, go ahead. Yes.
So 45% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days, and that's if they listed between December 17th and December 23rd. And that's not right. Oh, so 60% of sellers got under contract in Snohomish County if they listed between December 3rd and December 16th in Snohomish County within the first 14 days.
60%.
60%. Yeah, I don't have it written down right on my sheet. I have 6% written down. Where's it at?
Yeah, there we go.
Right over
But
here,
it's
yeah.
60
I have 6. It's 60.
Wow.
I do know my data this week.
Wow. No, that really is something. 60%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And 45% the first 7 days. There's just nothing wrong with that. That's a strong number.
That's a peak April number type of thing.
It's spring, baby.
Spring in January.
So I would not anticipate the bottom falling out of the market as many people would like to think is going to happen. I don't see that happening in the short term. And interest rates on top of that, a lot of experts are predicting they're going to come down. I don't know if there's just as many predicting they're going to go up. You know how that goes. Half of them are going to be right, and the other half are going to be wrong. And I'm not going to join in that crowd. So
Well,
I don't know where they're going. I'm hoping they're going to come down a tad.
I've got 100% assurance of how to gauge interest rate markets. We're going to go through my fantastic predictions and then bet against it. And I guarantee you,
Because Dan's been wrong a lot this last year, you guys. I mean, we've got video to prove that shit.
well, on the bright
Don't
side,
we, Dan?
I control all the video, so I haven't released it yet.
He doesn't know what I do with mine though, because see, I stream you guys on TikTok. I film myself separately on TikTok, so he has no control over that.
It's incriminating.
I could release a whole series. We could roast Dan on interest rates.
Yes.
What are interest rates doing, Dan?
What did I say?
Answer that question.
Up. What was I saying? Oh, I think they're hitting the peak. Next week.
Every week, he felt like they hit the peak.
They hit the peak, yes.
Yeah.
And you know when I was correct? In October. I was right.
Yep, end of October. Yep, you got it. You nailed it.
I nailed it. Right there. Perfect. That particular week. Unfortunately, I'm below the Mendoza line on my predictions. You know, the Mendoza line in baseball is you have to hit 200, and I'm below the Mendoza line on my predictions. Terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I interrupted. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, that's okay.
What
I
were we
thought
talking about?
I thought maybe you'd like to talk about Pierce County, Dan.
Pierce County. I love Pierce County. It's a great county. It's beautiful down there, and you've got some great properties. That you've got the water view, but you're not paying for the exorbitant prices that you're paying, like in Seattle,
King County. Yeah,
in King County.
That's right.
I love it.
Opportunities in Pierce County for sure.
Yeah. You know where else a good spot to get for a good value? I'm just throwing this
Where,
out.
Dan? Where?
I'm not joking. Right down by, I live in Renton, right? Or Newcastle, right on the border there, right? If you want to go to the good side of the street or the bad side of the street, anyway, you just cross over. Anyway, but if you go down from where I live, right along Lake Washington, down by where the Seahawks training facility is, and you go just a little bit more towards Boeing, they've got some houses right on the waterfront, and they're very nice houses. Some would call them mansions, and they rival like Kirkland, like Kirkland or Bellevue, Medina. They got some houses that are really close to that, but they're a lot less expensive, much more affordable, and it's the exact same lake. It's called Lake Washington.
Same lake. Yeah.
Same
Lake
lake.
Washington.
Lake Washington.
It gets less expensive in Renton, is what he's trying to say.
It's just a lot less expensive. Yes, I'm trying to gin up some business here for Renton. We got to gin up some business.
We like Renton.
I like Renton. It's a great little area. It's terrific.
We like Snohomish too.
Well, Snohomish is awfully nice.
Opened a can of worms there.
Yes, I did. I'm not trying to play favorites, but I'll tell you one thing about Snohomish. What's that one bar over in Snohomish?
You know what? There's the Pie Dive Bar, which is like my new favorite thing ever in Snohomish. I mean, meat pies, sweet pies, amazing cocktails. It's just so cool in a historic building. I mean, come on. and you
I
can cut
just
it on
tell
me
you,
afterwards.
you know what's good about those meat pies? They go with they go with the cocktails very well. And then let's say you only have half of the meat pie, but you've had like double your normal allotment of cocktails because you know it's the New Year's.
Okay, let's imagine.
So let's imagine you've got half the meat pie, so you got the other half, and then you've got the double the amount of cocktails that you normally would take. The next morning, that meat pie makes a terrific hangover remedy. It's
Oh my
terrific, and you don't have to pay any extra for it because you've still got that half that's
God,
right
you're
there.
going down the rabbit hole, Dan.
Sorry.
You can't give him that much room. Just
You know what it is? It's this glee that I'm feeling about the the UW Huskies, the dogs. You
the
know they're
glee.
playing.
It's the
They're
dog's
playing.
fault.
It's the dogs. I'm on a euphoric high. They're playing in the national championships. I think it's Monday. National championship.
Much of the area joins in your glee.
Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine? This is really remarkable.
Looking forward to
Anyway,
it. Yeah.
so we were going to talk about which county again? Was it Pierce County?
We were gonna get into Pierce County, Dan. Just kind of give you some highlights as to what's going on in Pierce County. I know you like Pierce County.
I do love Pierce County. I love Pierce
So,
County. Let's talk Pierce County. What are the stats, Kat?
Okay. Pierce County has 1.4 months supply of inventory.
Good.
28% of sellers set offer review dates.
Huh?
30% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between December 17th and December 23rd. So right before Christmas. And we got 47% of sellers getting under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between December 3rd and December 16th.
Those are some good numbers.
Pierce County, rocking and rolling. By the way, their MSI, their month supply of inventory, also decreased and has been decreasing. So it's at 1.4, so they're not quite as hot a market as Snohomish or King counties, but they still have a really good, strong sellers market for new listings coming on the market. And again, we're qualifying that, right?
Right.
It still, even in general terms, 1.4 months supply of inventory would indicate a good seller's market, meaning that sellers are going to get under contract fairly easily within 30 to 45 days. It's not a balanced market by any stretch, but it's definitely it's a little easier to get under contract in Pierce than it is in King or Snohomish County. So, but the new listings coming on the market are pretty hot in all three counties.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yep, it's a really strong market for new listings coming on the market. And for sellers that, are having to go on the market this time of year, that's just kind of a relief, right? Because you always worry, when you're coming on the market during the holidays or just after the holidays, is my house ever going to sell? What are we going to get for it? Are we going to get hammered on price? Our buyer's going to beat us up, because we listed at, a lesser favorite time of year. And no, half of you aren't going to get hammered. The other 50%, I don't know. It's hard to say, So anyway.
Well, we're going to get hammered one way or another. Anyways.
So in Mason County, not much to report in Mason County. They have such a lower population density that the data becomes sort of meaningless, but I'll go ahead and tell you what it is anyway. Mason County, 3.3 months supply of inventory, and that kind of goes up and down, just varies how many homes came on the market one particular week. I mean, they're impacted by just a few listings. Nobody set an offer review date, and nobody got under contract in the 7 days between December 17th and December 23rd. And they had 18% of sellers get under contract within the first 14 days on the market, December 3rd through December 16th. So they do have some activity, but it's slowed down in Mason County right now. So it's a holiday time, just holiday numbers. So it's okay.
Right. Okay.
And that, the same can be true of Skagit County. Skagit County had a couple more transactions. And so they're at 2.6 months supply of inventory. Nobody set an offer review date, but 50% of the sellers that did go on the market got under contract if they listed between December 17th and December 23rd, and that's within the first 7 days on the market. So 50% is a good number. I think
That's
there was only a few homes that came on the market that week for them, but good for those sellers. And 47% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between December 3rd and December 16th. So again, pretty good market for Skagit County for new listings, right? So everybody who misses the 2-week mark, it can feel uncomfortable, and you have to just take a look back and make sure that you and your agent have made sure that you've priced the property correctly. You can also wait and leave pricing alone until the 3rd, 4th week in January and see where you fall then. But you want to take a look at all the new listings coming on the market and the ones that still remain. And you do need to be one of the most attractively priced properties for your amenities, as compared to everybody else on the market, if you want to get off the market, because there just aren't that many people buying this time of year. So even though the numbers can look hot, they look hot because fewer listings are coming on the market. So few listings that only a few need to sell in Skagit County to make huge numbers, to make it look like everything's hopping. But in fact, these numbers represent what's happened during the first week and the first 2 weeks of listing your home. So it's been hit and miss in Skagit County. So anyway, something to keep in mind if you're in Skagit County and you're thinking about putting your house on the market. So nobody's setting off for review dates. That's something to bear in mind, because if nobody else is, you probably do not want to be that person that does that. So, okay. Kitsap County.
I've been waiting for Kitsap County.
My daughter and my grandkids live in Kitsap County. I have a special affinity for Kitsap County. I have investors that are purchasing duplexes and triplexes and fourplexes in Kitsap County. It is one of the few places in Western Washington that you can still get those to break even at the very least in Bremerton. If you actually want to make money or you want to have cash flow, you're buying one of those 120-year-old homes down there in Grays Harbor, Aberdeen, outside of the floodplain, by the way. But those can cash flow nicely. Bremerton, a little tougher. You're good to break even, and then hopefully you can raise rents over the years. And if you pick up a property that's in fairly good condition, maybe somebody has redone the interior and the structural, piping, electrical, and things like that. If it's an older property, then you can, find yourself in a good investment property long term that hopefully you don't have to put much money into going forward. So anyway, there's some of those out there. Call me if you're interested.
You know what I would suggest for if you're going to buy an investment property over there and you're relying on rental increases, I would suggest a property manager. I really would.
Well, even if you're not relying on property rental increases, you do want to hire a property manager in the state of Washington. It's just the laws regarding tenancy and landlord relationships is really dicey. It's hard to keep up with the changes in the law yearly, annually, or maybe even more frequently than that. And it's also hard to keep up with the changes in those laws locally. So it's not just state regulations that you have to worry about staying within the laws. It's also local regulations. So the counties and the specific jurisdictions. And myself, my property is managed by a property manager who I pay a fortune to, I feel like. But, to be fair, I rarely get a phone call, and she handles everything. She's amazing. So takes care of everything. So, speaks to the renter and passes along information if I have information that I'd like them to have. So anyway, I think property managers are worth their weight in gold, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But anyway, were we talking Kitsap County? Or
we are. Let me get you guys out the data for Kitsap County so you know what's going on over there. It's actually a fairly decent market. My daughter works it right. She's working it right now. Oops, I got logs roll around on my fire, but so far none of them have escaped. So we're good. All right, Kitsap County, 1.5 months supply of inventory. Nobody set an offer review date because that's holiday time. It was the appropriate thing to do. Do not.
You know what? Just for kicks, you should tell Michelle, set an offer review date. What's
No,
the problem? Show up on the stats. You're the only one setting an offer review date.
no, it's bad advice, Dan.
No, bad advice, huh?
Yep. So 33% of sellers did get under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between December 16th and December 23rd. No, December 17th and December 23rd. Sorry, I got that wrong. Anyway, and then 44% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between December 3rd and December 16th. And so both of those numbers are fairly strong for new listings coming on the market. Now, over in Kitsap County, their month supply of inventory is 1.5 months, so just a little bit steeper than Pierce County. And I will tell you, if you miss that 14-day mark, it does start to get uncomfortable. My daughter's had a couple listings where they did go beyond the 14 days. Not that the seller or the listing agent did anything wrong. It's just there was nobody in that price range. I mean, she had something listed at $4.25 over there, which is a really low price. And it was a new manufactured over there in Kingston. And they couldn't get anybody to go look at it for weeks. I mean, it was just crazy. Like, she would get skunked for a week at a time. She would do open houses, have nobody show up. And so this was November or December. And so there are those times in the market, I like to emphasize this, that sometimes there just isn't anyone in that price range. And so you can't panic. So the seller in this case was panicking, absolutely panicking, and wanting to drop price immediately and then immediately again. And I was like, honey, you don't need to drop price. There isn't anything else on the market in that price range. Nothing's selling. You're not doing anything wrong. And so we convinced the seller to stay the course. You know, she let him drop price once, you know, and then she tried it, you know, she just kind of hold out. And then, because, you know, buyers always want something when it's been on the market more than a couple of weeks. So, you know, you're going to have to concede something. So you keep dropping price, you're still going to be expected to concede something. And if you're priced right, and they were, I took a look at that. I know that area well. Her and I have, you know, walked our way through these new construction mobile homes over and over again. She's listed for a flipper over there for several years. And they're not that tough to price. They just aren't. And they always get scooped up because they're brand new. And they've got, you know, the modern flooring and the stainless steel appliances and everything's brand new. And they look just like a regular house on the inside, you know? So, and they almost all have like back decks and they were almost all on a little bit of acreage, quarter acre, half acre. So anyway, yeah. So that's Kitsap County.
Nice.
Kitsap County's got a good market, good, strong market going.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well,
that's what I got for county data, guys. Hi, TikTokers. By the way, send me some hearts. I need some hearts. I need to feel some love over here.
There you go, Kat.
Oh, Dan sent me a heart. That's sweet. That's very nice. Thank you, Dan.
It's not very, you're so good at doing that, the heart sign with your hands. Like
practice. I didn't really ever do this until I started live streaming on TikTok.
My hearts look more like just a couple of claws coming together, and I'm not so good at it. But,
I mean, I keep wondering, you guys, if I'm even live. Anyway, all right.
Okay. So you know, let's talk about. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but let's talk about what we were talking about before the live stream in our prep session. We actually do a prep session for this. Yes.
Yeah. So what we were talking about earlier, you guys, is it's just an odd time in the market. There's kind of maybe a slight window for buyers or buyers that will also be sellers. And so there is a small window of opportunity here where you might be able to buy a little bit on the low side and turn around and sell a little bit on the higher side. So that's ideal, right? So that would be a winter to spring transition. And your goal would be to buy first and then to sell your existing home a few months down the road. And so hopefully recouping some of the appreciation that happens between when you purchase, when you negotiate your purchase versus when you actually negotiate the sale of your current home. So the way you can do that, there's a couple ways you can do that. And one of them is through like a Windermere bridge loan. So just to kind of summarize what a Windermere Bridge loan would do, a Windermere Bridge loan you can borrow up to, I think it's 70% of your current property's value, and minus the amount you owe on it, right? So if you have $1 million house and you owe $300,000, you could borrow $400,000 from that, and it's a fixed fee, and then there's I think it's 10 or 12% interest they charge. So your total fee, if you did that over 3 or 4 months, would be, essentially 1%, or 1% per month is essentially what it winds up being. So plus the origination fee, which I believe is 1%. So over a period of 4 months, it would be 4%. So maybe up to $16,000 there. But that would allow you to go ahead, put a non-contingent offer in on the property that you want, and then you could turn around and then move out, get into your new house, get your old house, your current residence ready for market properly, get it staged, get the windows clean, replace carpets if you need to, wait for the weather to get good enough to get the exterior painted if it needs it, have the roof repaired if that's necessary, get it really ready for the market, and then put it on the market in April, right? So maybe you buy end of January, and you get your house on the market maybe beginning of April. And Windermere gives you 6 months at least to get that done. So there's plenty of time. The only downside to their program is you have to qualify for both the original mortgage payment as well as the new mortgage payment. So you have to, the thing that would be the benefit is that you can use the money that's in your equity in your current home as the down payment, and you can buy non-contingent provided you can qualify for both those mortgages together. So it's a very cool program. It's extremely inexpensive. You could turn around, and if your house is ready to go on the market, you could turn around and put it on the market right after you move out, and potentially get that wrapped up within a couple of months. And so your cost to do that would be a lot less. I'm only suggesting that maybe if the market is going up and we have interest rates coming down, that we do see in Snohomish County and King County an average dramatic price increase between January data and June data. And it's so significant. In Snohomish County, it's actually, let's do King County. King County, it's actually 12.7%. That June, your average sales price in June is 12.7% higher. Actually, it's average price per square foot if you really breaking it down. Your average price per square foot is actually 12.7% higher in June than it is in January. January is a December negotiation. June is a May negotiation. So, right between January and April, I would assume you can expect a fairly good amount of appreciation. So if you negotiated yourself a home in January, you're still going to be near the bottom of price per square foot for the year. And I would assume if interest rates stay the same or increase at all or go down at all, which we're expecting, hopefully they do. Don't quote me on that. But if it at least stay the same, we would see a natural spring increase in the average price per square foot in Snohomish and King counties. So, and I'm just reporting what the average have been for the last 12 years. So I didn't go back all the way before the whole 2008 debacle, but you can go back that far and it still shows a very strong appreciation. And it's still almost every single year, January to June, the June data is higher than January. And I think that's important to stress. This is a typical real estate cycle. And even in down markets, we still have a tendency to follow those cycles. And I don't think this is a down market. I'm just saying, 16% appreciation in Snohomish County this last year, knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
I think King County, what was it, 14% in King County? That did come down. The highs in King County in June, I think, were 22%. They had gone up in appreciation. And that has come back down to 14% for the year. But I have to tell you, that's still really strong appreciation. Anytime I hear appreciation over like 5%, as a property owner, I'm like, it's just big dollars to a property owner when you're thinking about appreciation, because that's not something you worked for. It just happens when you own real estate. So, and it's the beautiful thing about owning property. So when you get 16%, that's pretty amazing. So, and outside of the fact that we're becoming less affordable in this area, but Anyway, so that I think that's interesting. And then also, Dan, so there's the what's that one loan program called? There's the Heritage Bridge Loan Program,
Yeah.
and that one allows you 1 full year to get your home sold, and it's a little more expensive than the Windermere Bridge Loan Program, but it allows you to tap into your equity, but they charge you on the sales price of your residence that you're moving out of, right? So they charge you, your fee is based on that sales price instead of the loan amount. So the Windermere Bridge loan is based on the loan amount. And so it just winds up costing the seller buyer a little less. So
actually that one's for the there's a company called the Loan Store. Here, I'll put the graphics up on that.
Well, the Loan Store, theirs isn't that a shorter term? That's more like 90 days, right?
Now that one's 90 days. Yeah.
Well, here isn't Heritage similar, but it's just it's a year instead of 90 days.
Yeah, every lender's got little nooks and crannies, if you will. And so American Heritage has it's really a terrific program for the right seller. And so they offer some things that others don't offer. Okay, so they've got a feature called loan stacking, and they can go to a 90% loan to value instead of an 80% loan to value. They've got a lot of neat niches in their program that goes beyond just the bridge loan itself. But the concept, so I would hope you don't mind me stepping in here. And
no, please do. No, I love it. And I'm glad you're bringing up some of the nuances, because these programs are not all the same. And so that's why I really wanted to get out there what the Windermere program was, so that Dan could kind of take off and explain what some of these other bridge loan products will do, because they do have varying nuances and different capabilities for different situations. So it's interesting.
Yeah, that's right. And so they each have a little bit of difference, and I'm not going to get too far in the weeds on all this stuff, and I'm going to try and stay, more conceptual, if you will. But like with the Windermere program is a terrific program if you're looking to tap your equity for your down payment. Fantastic program for that.
Yes.
If you need to eliminate, and quite honestly, most people, the number one benefit for these programs is going to be eliminating the dual debt to income ratio, the dual mortgage liabilities, right?
Mortgage payments, right?
Right. That's a big problem, especially moving in with rates as high as they are, prices as high as they are right now. The new mortgage liability is really, really expensive, and then you tack on the, from the exiting property departure residence, you tack on that mortgage liability,
which will be a lot less.
Well, yeah, but
probably 2.5% to 3%.
Yeah, that's right. But
and the property was purchased a while ago, so the loan's a lot less.
That's really the crux of the problem, right? Is that you've got the two mortgage liabilities, and you've got to be able to unstick this whole situation, right? It's got to get unstuck, so to speak. And so one of the advantages with both, we were talking about.
Did we end our recording?
Not that I know of.
It says, please stay in the show until your recording are done uploading. I wonder if that's just, that's weird. All right. Well, I'm not going to worry about it.
No, we're still going on my end. So
okay,
we're good.
All right.
But basically what you're trying to do is, you got a situation where things are kind of stuck because interest rates have gone up so much, prices continue to go higher, so your payments are a lot higher, and now you've got to shoulder the burden of having two mortgage payments if you want to buy a new house, right? And when I say shoulder the burden, I do mean from a debt to income perspective, right? So you've got to eliminate that problem, that debt to income ratio issue that's out there. And so, hang on here, let me get my graphics back up. So this is and there are a number of buy before you sell programs that are out there. This one happens to be from the Loan Store. We chose that because their graphics are really good and they do a good job of explaining, but it's a good program as well. So basically, 56% of the people looking to sell have these issues with dual, having to get debt to income ratios in line because they're having to keep their departure residence before they sell. And it's timely because right now, if you look at what we were just talking about, what you really want to do if you were market timing the real estate market, right? You'll want to buy in January or December, and you're going to want to sell in, have the property listed and selling it in like April or May, something like that.
That's right.
And those are the peak times.
Ideally, if you can swing that, then that could actually increase, your profits on the outgoing residents. I mean,
Right.
by a substantial amount. I mean, you could almost cover your closing costs, your 9% selling costs.
Well,
your real estate compensation plus your excise tax and escrow and title fees could almost be absorbed by the increase in potential average price per square foot that you could receive several months later. So
right.
Yeah, it's worth thinking about. No one can predict the market and no one can predict interest rates, but we do have averages available to us, statistical averages that we can kind of take a look at those trends and say, is that worth taking a look at and taking seriously for my situation? I don't recommend, in most cases, people do try to time the market, but if it is a time in the market when someone is going to do the thing that I think would benefit from timing the market, then it is something that I do bring up now that I know the data. I mean, early in my career, I had no idea. No one ever talks about this sort of thing. I do because I love it, because I'm a stats geek. And so over my career, I've learned what things matter to me and what I think is useful to my buyers and sellers. And this is one particular statistic that I think is useful. It's also useful for investors and flippers because they do and they can time the market. And so, I think equipping with investors with that sort of information, although investment properties a little different, but still we can look at those things. But flippers, when they're flipping single family homes, absolutely applies straight across the board. And so definitely they should be looking at that, and they should be looking at listing in April. That's when my daughter usually lists her flips. Right. And that works out very well. Very, very, very well. So.
Right. So just taking those concepts of buying when things are low and selling when things are a little bit higher, right? That's really what they're tailoring these programs around, so that you can eliminate these debt to income ratios. So I'll walk through this little slide deck real quick. But
I want to mention, can I interrupt you really quick?
Yeah, sure.
So, guys, so this is the thing on the buying end, what this allows you guys to do is it allows you to make an offer non-contingent. So both the Windermere Bridge program, as well as these other two bridge programs that we're talking about right now, they allow you to make an offer non-contingent. So what does that mean? That means that a seller in the month of January or February might be willing to accept your offer where they might not if you're contingent. So you might not be able to get the home you really want if you're contingent. So you can actually get in the game, you can actually make an offer on a property and be taken seriously. But two, if you do happen to be competing and you're contingent, you got no shot unless the other people are contingent as well. And then the seller may just say bye, waiting for a non-contingent offer. And right. So, if you can go in, it can save you money on the buying end, if you see where I'm going with this. So if you're not contingent and there's one other buyer and they are, suddenly you may not have to escalate. You just need to be non-contingent, right? You don't have a house you have to sell. So it can actually save you money. Now, if you are up against somebody who's not, let's just say you're contingent and you're up against somebody who's not contingent, that seller is more than likely going to pass you by.
Right.
And you're not even going to get to play the game. They might let you escalate and see if, but most of the time agents don't escalate contingent versus non-contingent because those are apples and oranges. And so most of the time we don't escalate in those situations. So the other buyer would just get it by default, essentially, as long as all the other terms looked appropriate. So I just want to let you know this whole scenario can save you money on the front end of your purchase, as well as potentially get you more money on the sale of your current residence a couple months down the road as you're moving into your new house and you're getting it ready for the market. And because the market is very brisk in March and April and May. So May gets dicey. I don't like May. I'm just saying that for myself. I get nervous around Mother's Day. Don't do it. Memorial Day, April.
And the reality is if the statistics hold up, and it sure looks like they're going to hold up this year because we have very tight conditions, tight inventory. Looks like conditions are going to hold up this year. The whole the way the pricing is, where you do get a little bit more for selling the house in April, it pretty much, I shouldn't even say pretty much, it definitely pays for the costs, and there are slightly additional costs to getting this loan, but it gets you into the house.
So even a couple percent more would absorb the cost of the extra loan you had to get, the bridge loan. So even if you didn't use the Windermere Bridge program and you used another bridge program that cost a little bit more money, because it's not that much more expensive than the Windermere Bridge program, but let's say you use one of those that costs a little bit more money, even just a few percent more in your sales price can at least cover that cost. So
yeah,
I don't know. Food for thought. It's the right direction, right? As opposed to trying to purchase in, in what, like in August, July, trying to purchase in August, July or August, and then selling your house in September, October. So that's backwards. Not saying that September, October, the market falls apart, but it definitely can start to soften. And even worse would be buying in September and then going on the market in November, December with your current residence. And then of course that is backwards, because although the market in that time frame doesn't necessarily lose as much percentage wise as we gain in the spring, it still does soften in an average year. So it's backwards, right? So if you're buying in the fall and you're also going to turn around and try to sell later, you may get a few percent less for the current residence that you're putting on the market. So, if you guys kind of catch where I'm headed with this, we have natural real estate cycles in the real estate market. And typically January starts to do a little bit of this, goes up. February, March, April, May, June starts to level off. Summer does kind of a level thing. And then we start to see it kind of start to come down. September, October, slightly, maybe. And then November, December, a little bit. And that would be the low, would usually be December to January. And then we would start doing this thing again in January, February. So, and that is a typical real estate cycle. This is not something that I'm making up for the purposes of our illustration here. I've looked at this over a period of time, and this is a normal real estate cycle, at least in the United States and Western Washington. So
and just to walk through sort of the process of the whole thing and some of the benefits of it that we've kind of hit on already. But basically, we're talking about contingent versus non-contingent, and contingent would be you enter into you want to buy this particular house, but you say, hey, Mr. Seller, we have to sell our house before we can make a formal offer. Isn't that pretty much what contingency is? We got to sell our house first.
Yeah, so that's exactly what a contingency is that we have to, well, at least a home contingency, right? So we have to sell our house before we can actually finalize, getting in contract with you. So, yes, we want to buy your house for X amount, and yes, we want an inspection or we don't want an inspection, which they would make you go ahead and have right away, unfortunately. But your offer would be contingent upon your home getting sold within X number of days. And sellers in this market might give you 2 weeks. They might give you 30 days. Normally they don't give you 45 because they don't want to be off the market that long if you don't sell. So it depends on the agent and it depends on the seller as to whether they'd be willing to do that. If a seller has a lot of flexibility and they really don't want to move right away, they might be willing to look at a longer contingency. I know there's some listings that have taken contingent offers in the area. I had a client's interested in a house and it went contingent, and they weren't that interested in it, And so when you're buying contingent, you're also paying more money. Typically, you're not able to negotiate the price as well. So that's another thing to keep in mind if you were to try to buy contingent, is that sellers look at that as a downside to your offer, and they're going to want a little more money for that,
Pretty,
for being
pretty
off the market.
pretty big downside in some cases, right? I mean,
Yeah, it can be sizable. I mean, there are times when buyers have to pay over asking price to get the seller to accept a contingent offer. There are other times when the seller would like you to waive contingencies and things like that. And that's all part of it. You know, as buyer's agents representing a contingent buyer, you know, you don't recommend that buyers waive inspections and things like that, because that's not, I don't think that's a good idea, you know, and not in my practice, not if you're my client. So, but you know, there are times in the market where you can get a contingent offer accepted. And like the last couple of months would have been one of those times in the market. Not every home listed is going to look at a contingent offer, because you can see half of them are going off the market within the first 7 days in a lot of the counties. And so you're not going to get those sellers necessarily looking at a contingent offer, because you might even wind up competing with somebody who's not contingent. But there are properties that have been on the market for more than 14 days that the sellers might be willing to look at a contingent offer. So again, if you do make an offer contingent, that's different from this bridge loan thing, right? So at that point, you're going to try to arrange for a simultaneous close. You come in, you get your property sold. Everybody, you know, tries to get closed within the few days of one another, and then you do a simultaneous move essentially. So it's one way where you can use your own equity to purchase the new home without getting an extra loan, right? So the idea behind getting the extra loan is that if you do find yourself in a situation where you really want a house, you actually can come in non-contingent and make your offer look much better, and with a lot better odds that the seller will accept your offer.
Right.
So,
and so you've got the three. You know, we'll just kind of walk through this deck real quick, and
do it, Dan. Do it.
But basically, your benefits are going to be you don't have to go contingent. You can
That's
just
right.
remove that whole layer of headache.
A
Right?
headache that the seller would not like.
That's right. Headache and in many cases, additional cost. Quite honestly, you're going to be paying more for your house than you normally would. You're paying for the privilege of going contingent. That's a reality.
And then you've got to pop your house on the market within 5 days. So that's 5 business days. You have to get your house on the market. If you're contingent and then you need to get your home on the market immediately following getting into contract with that seller. So there's that pressure that's a pressure cooker situation, because now you're trying to sell your house occupied with you living in it. So,
and if you've ever seen Cat Howard's 11 points to selling your home, you know that 5 days, it's pretty quick. You got to be ready to go. No goofing around.
I can't do it in 5 days, Dad. You got to give me more time than 5 days. Got photographers to arrange.
So
got to get that up the stage. We need windows cleaned. You know, I'm not getting that thing done in 5 days.
That's right.
You're telling your agent far in advance that you're going to make contingent offers, and you're going to be market ready when you make an offer. That's what you're going to do.
That's exactly right. So you've got that aspect of things. You've got the new mortgage. We've been kind of talking about it, but you're removing your departure residence, the mortgage liability, the house that you're selling. We're taking that mortgage liability out of the equation, right? So you're going to simply qualify on the new home, the debt to income ratio that you're getting, and that's quite honestly, that's a big deal in a lot of transactions. And then the third thing that we're looking at is in this specific loan case, you've got a 0% interest. Doesn't mean it's no cost. There is a cost. We'll get to that real quick. But it's 0% interest loan. This particular loan goes for 90 days for a bridge loan, and it will unlock 75% of the value of your home before you sell. So you're going to unlock some equity, and you can take that equity and apply it towards the down payment. So very, very reasonable to expect that you could do the whole transaction with no money coming out of your pocket, that you're using the equity in your home to do the entire transaction. Very possible.
That's kind of the beauty of this situation, is that you're able to use the equity in your existing home to move forward and buy a new residence and not have to sell first to purchase. So you are using the equity to facilitate you a single move. So
And
no money has to come out of your pocket if you have enough equity to cover your down payment and your closing costs.
that's right. And so those are really three very big benefits. I mean,
Yes.
it really is. Those are,
Huge.
we're not, let's not, anyway, let's not pass those things by. Those are big deals. But anyway, we'll just walk through a sample transaction here real quick.
Let's do it.
So the first thing you're doing is you're departing the resident. You're getting a pre-approval. You're basically calling. They do this really quick. You'll get a pre-approval back. They say 24 hours. I would say more in the 48 to 72 hour range. But by the time you're done with all this stuff, if you're organized, you get all of the documentation that's needed up front. The lender will approve it quickly. And then what you're doing here in the example is you have an expected sales price of the departure residence of $500,000. You currently have a mortgage balance of $250,000, and you're going to be unlocking $125,000 in equity that you can apply now towards your new home. And the step two is you're just going to be shopping contingency free, so you don't have to, you don't need a contingency offer. And then you're going to be closing on the new home with your new mortgage using the down payment that you've collected from your departure, the equity in your departing residence. So all of that stuff comes, pretty much nothing out of pocket, which is cool. And then you've got a new mortgage that's coming in at $475,000. But remember, you're only getting, in step one, you're only getting 75% of the equity of your home, right, that you're leaving. Well, there's another 25% that's going to be there when you sell the house, right? And so when you sell the house, you've got that extra 25% that's coming in. You can apply that towards the new mortgage and bring your new mortgage down even more, and what they would call recasting your loan, which is reducing the mortgage balance, right? So it's a very cool, and then you have plenty of time to stage the home, put a black front door on the front home. You can go down to Home Depot and get those black front doors. Boy, did they ever increase the property value. And then you can put in the proper lighting in the house. You can stage the home properly. You can do all of it so that you can maximize the home's value when you sell. So you don't have to shortcut anything. You sell it for full market value. You're saving a lot of money. You can save a ton of money. And plus the timing aspect of things that we're talking about, you can kind of pick and choose within a reasonable time frame. Hey, I want to put our house on the market in, let's say, end of March, right? End of March. That's a good time. And instead of having to put it on when things are still a little cold and wet and damp here, and the prices are a little lower, they're a little higher in March.
That's right. I mean, you have the flexibility when you've got a 90-day window. 90 days is not as big a window as I'd like, but it certainly could be adequate. But it certainly would give you some time in there where maybe you could do some exterior painting or exterior maintenance with a 90-day window, if that was necessary.
And some of these lenders, like the one we're talking about right now, goes with the 90-day window. The other lenders we were talking about, American Heritage, goes with a 12-month window. So that would be more of a Cat Howard liking, because you have more elbow room to list the house, right?
Yes. And the thing of it is, too, about a 12-month window is that if you did have, a family member or something that, needed to occupy the residence for an extended length of time, you would have a little flexibility as to when you actually went on the market. So, or if you had some, bigger chores to, attempt to repair, or you wanted to do some of the work yourself and it was going to take you a couple months to get it painted, or it does give you that time to do that. Now it's going to cost you money. So let's not pretend it's free. So you still do have the mortgage on the original residence, right? And then you're going to be paying for the loan, for a while you have that loan out. So, but it does give you more flexibility to handle the things on the existing residence how you would like to handle it. So if you want to do some of the work yourself, you certainly can. I got to plug in. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, Dan. I'm running out of juice here.
Uh-oh.
I know.
I'm gonna talk faster.
Uh-oh. Well, hold on. Let me grab my cord. It's right here. Because once I get the notification, that thing just kind of shuts off all of a sudden on me. You know, there's not a lot of warning after that one warning. It's kind of a one warning system. All right, get this thing out of the way. All right. Okay, we should be good for another few minutes now.
Okay, so I'll bring
Here we
it
go.
quick, but we're almost at the end of the deck. So
We're
that's
almost
good.
done. We're almost done,
We're
guys.
Almost done. So here's the part where they tell you have a 24-hour full approval. If it was me, I would be counting on like a 76-hour full approval. I don't always believe everything that these lenders tell me, but they're very good. They really are very good. And sometimes you do get a full 24-hour full approval. So it's pretty cool. They are the point is they are responsive, right? And then finally, they're looking at the property requirements. There are some requirements. They do have limitations, like the homes that you're departing can only be up to $2.5 million. Okay. The square footage has to be over 750 square feet. You can't sell one of those tiny homes. That doesn't count. You've got to have at least one bedroom and one bathroom. So they do have some of these restrictions, but they're very reasonable. They're looking just to sell normal old houses, right? The properties that they look for would be normal things like single family homes, townhomes, condos, less than 5 acres, stuff like that. You need to have access to public roads and utilities. Can't be living off the grid. Funky stuff, right? They're just looking for regular old urban homes in regular old neighborhoods. That's what they're looking for.
Right.
And then they want to make sure that the house is in good repair to begin with, like your departure residence. You're not in an ongoing renovation or anything like that. And there's no major defects in the property. Like if you're over in Aberdeen and you happen to have a floor that's like slanting down or something like that, well, that might be a little bit issue. Probably won't be because they probably, they'll think, well, it's Aberdeen. We expect that. But you never know. But as long as there's no major defects in the foundation, the framing, all that kind of stuff, and then the expected days on the market is expected to be 90 days from when you list it until it goes pending. That's what they're looking for. So those are the basic, outline of the loan. It's a good loan. What does the program cost? They advertise a 0% interest rate, but there is a 2.4% cost of the departure residence, the sales price, right? So
they base their fee on the actual sales price of the departing residence. So, and it's 2.4%. So although they're not charging for the bridge loan specifically, they're charging you a flat fee of 2.4% for that 90 days.
Right. And so they have protections in place. What they ask a question here in the deck? What if the Home Light purchases the home and sells it for more? Well, then you get the additional money that they sell it for. And it's a good program specifically to address some of these issues that we face as far as not wanting to provide to make a contingent offer, because that's going to kind of blow things up. You find your dream home, you want to be able to buy it and not have your dreams blow up in your face, if you will. So
it allows you to move once, Dan, right? Because there have been times when you've got a seller that says, I need to sell my house because I need to access the cash to go buy my dream house, and the only way for me to do that is to sell my house first, and then they wind up getting an Airbnb or staying at a hotel, and then they're trying to find, the home that they want to buy. The risk is, you guys, this is the risk. So you need to be working with a really good real estate broker during this process, because we're going to take a look at the home that you're leaving, the current residence, and we're going to give you a market analysis on that. And we need to be very, very, very realistic as to what you would potentially get for that residence when you are going to go to sell it. So we need to be on the conservative side. And so that when you get your net proceeds and you're putting the money down on the new house, that you don't wind up short on cash. So we do need to be very, very diligent about that. You need to be working with a good professional that can give you good guidance on how much that home will be worth on the conservative side.
If I could make a suggestion for that real estate professional, I would suggest Kat Howard. That would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Dan. That's very kind of you. Yes, I'm available. Yes, guys, pick me. I love working with buyers and sellers, as you might imagine. So, and investors and builders. I don't want to leave them out because they are also a huge part of my business. So I should just be saying buyers and sellers. So anyway, but yeah, so I think that there's a place for these programs, and I think it can make it in a market where we don't accept contingent offers very easily or very often. I think this is the solution. This is the workaround for that scenario. And it costs you a little bit more money, but if you can time the market a little bit, you might be able to absorb some of that extra cost. So
especially
offset it with a higher sales price. So
yeah, especially right now. We're sitting here the first week of January. We have a pretty good idea that things are going to improve price-wise into June.
There's no indication the market's going south, Dan. None.
Right. None. That's
none.
Right.
No indication whatsoever on any front. Right now where I'm sitting, the market looks to be like it's improving and going forward as I would expect in January. And from what I understand from the activity out there, my own experiences in the market right now is that activity has been increasing. And so we are, and I think because interest rates came down so dramatically between October and December, that we really started to see a pickup of activity, especially on the new listings in December. Even when you would think people wouldn't be out there buying, we had a lot of buyers that actually said, I would like to nab the lower interest rates. So Mr. and Mrs. Real Estate Broker, would you mind showing us houses during the holidays? And of course, as good real estate brokers do, sure, no problem. So
you've been a working fool lately, haven't you? I mean, you've been working.
I've been working my butt off. Yep. Yeah. I even worked on Christmas Day at home, but I had a couple of market analyses to do for properties I had looked at the previous week. So pretty fun. I like doing stuff like that. And I had celebrated my Christmas the Friday before with my family. So we had a really good time, took the grandkids ice skating and went to the Muse at the Everett Marina and got a whiskey drink. So that was really fun. That place is amazing. I think it's got 12-foot ceilings and views of the water, the yacht harbor out there. So it's just gorgeous. And you just can't imagine until you get out there and take a look at it. But it is cool. It's a place worthy of visiting. It's a coffee whiskey house, but they do serve food, and children are welcome, even though they might discourage that at the front door. They have individual rooms to serve you. And so we had my grandkids there, and it worked out just fine. We had our own room. So it worked out fine. So, and then we came back to my place on that Friday, and I made chocolate pudding cake from scratch, which was to die for. Unbelievable. And we opened Christmas presents, which was fun. So my daughter bought me an Alexa. It was hard for me to buy myself one. So she bought me an Alexa. Yes.
What's an Alexa?
There's certain songs I like to hear. And I don't use my phone to play music.
Well, Alexa, you mean Alexa the from Amazon?
Alexa, the little ball, the round ball thing.
Alexa.
She got me a blue one for my kitchen,
Well, nice.
And so I can ask Alexa questions now, which is kind of fun for me.
Alexa, play Fly Me to the Moon from Frank Sinatra. You could ask her that question.
Fly Me to the Moon and similar songs on Amazon Music.
It listened to you, Dan. It's playing Fly Me to the Moon.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play.
I'm dying.
among the
I
stars.
can't believe Alexa listened to him.
Let me see what
It has you do like a voice recognition thing.
Jupiter and Mars.
Hey, Alexa, down 3 notches.
Hold my hand.
Still playing. Anyway, that was a pretty good trick, Dan.
Now I know that I hate to say this, but I think the NSA has my voice print at this point. It goes straight through Alexa.
It definitely bypassed me, that's for sure. That's my Alexa.
That was pretty funny how I said that on the live stream.
Oh no, it actually totally caught me off guard. I actually didn't think it was going to happen, and then all of a sudden there was I saw the lights swirling around the base over there. I was like, no, she's listening. Seriously, and to somebody else, like I'm like, that's my Alexa. Sorry, a little territorial. I'm going to pee on it.
I'm old enough to
like a
say
dog.
this. You know who Alexa should marry?
He missed that.
Something about peeing on it.
I know. I need to mark my territory. That's my Alexa. I was relating myself to a dog. I was thinking, what would Bella do? Bella would pee on it, Mr. Fat Tuesday would too, I guess. Little buddy.
Boy, you know what? I got to tell you, I've got very good taste in music. I like that song.
I do too. It's one of my favorites.
It's a good one.
It's
a
is.
good one.
And honestly, all I've told it to do is sing. Well, I like Peggy Lee too. I tell it to sing Frank Sinatra songs and Peggy Lee songs. That's what I tell it to do. I shouldn't have an Alexa because I don't really use it much.
Well, I've got
a couple
another one.
times that I want to ask it to play a song. I thought, it does. So it's amazing.
How do we reset Alexa? I've got another one to ask.
Okay.
I've got another song request.
Hey, Alexa, new song request.
Alexa, play Golden Heart by Mark Knopfler. Let's see if they sing.
Golden Heart and similar songs on Amazon Music.
Oh my God. You're controlling my Alexa. I'm not sure how I feel about that, Dan.
You know what I like about our live streams? At the end, we can go a little freewheeling.
We do. Well, shit, are you kidding me? We freewheeled at the beginning this time. You're talking about staying out of jail. And I'm like, what is he talking about? I'm like, you could have saved that to the end, Dan. He's gonna get all, I don't know what he was thinking there.
I don't know.
No, but we do freewheel at the end, you guys. We just kind of, sometimes I, grab a glass of wine, have a little conversation with Dan live.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, that was fun today, Dan. I thought that was really valuable information. I think that it's good for my buyers and sellers to be aware that those programs are out there. And I really, really, really wanted to dive deep into those today because I do have clients right now that I've done market analyses for that are in that situation where it could potentially benefit them. And it allows them to not have to qualify for 2 loans like you would for the Windermere Bridge program.
Right.
Using these other loan programs, which are going to be a tad more expensive, but it does give you the freedom to not have to qualify for both mortgages. And that's why I wanted us to go into that today, because not everybody will qualify for both the higher mortgage for the new property as well as their existing mortgage. A lot of people, their income just hasn't gone up that much. Let's face it, interest rates have more than doubled. So,
yeah,
it's not just everybody else that is having a hard time qualifying. It's your average person. Most people don't qualify for the new mortgages. Most of us couldn't afford to buy the house we're in. At the current interest rates. I mean, to be fair,
right?
My house has gone up, hideously in value not hideously, but it's gone up in value a lot. And, while I've owned it, I can't even imagine paying what it's worth now and trying to get a mortgage on it.
Right.
That's just unbelievable because it's worth 4, 5, 6 times what it was worth when I purchased it. And I'm still making the tail end of payments for that original loan. So it's just about paid off. I'm one of those. I'm one of those that I don't know about taking out another mortgage, Dan, especially one at 7%.
Yes. And boy, I think, hopefully by the next 6 months, we'll be in a better place. I think we will.
Fingers
So,
crossed.
fingers crossed.
You guys see my champagne colored sparkly nails? Aren't these pretty?
Hang on. I've got it. I'm gonna change my screen to full screen. I'm going full screen for your champagne. Oh, look at them.
Aren't they
They're
pretty? They're
they're
like
so
so
pretty.
pretty.
They're very
like-
shiny,
They're like
sparkly.
a very muted pink, but very sparkly. So they're really pretty. Yeah.
In all seriousness, they are very, very pretty.
Thank you.
Very pretty.
I
Yes.
feel like they're festive in a sort of New Year's sort of way.
I think whoever does your nails should get extra. Who does your nails? Let's
You
give
know
her a
what?
little.
She's at the Palm Salon, and I want to say it's technically Everett, Washington, off of 132nd. It's called Palm Salon, and her name is Kim, and she is amazing. She also now does my neighbor's nails, Melanie, and she does her sister's nails now as well, Kim. And so I refer her whenever I can because she really does. She's very careful. Most of the time, they hurt me, those manicurists. So when I find one that doesn't, I keep them. She's one of my people now. So she's even done my nails at her house on her day off.
When you said, what do they do to hurt you? I mean, what do they just?
Well,
rip off
the
your
tools,
nails?
they can cut into your cuticle. And if the tool stays in one place too long, it can burn through your nail.
Oh,
I've been getting my nails done for decades, and
yeah.
when I find somebody who really is good and their finished product lasts, I hang on to that person. She's like amazing.
Do you see my nails?
Yeah,
I've never had them done before.
that looks inexpensive.
It's
I
a
will
very,
say though, but guys do love getting pedicures. You should check into getting a pedicure down.
that's
We're
for the
going to
feet.
drag Nathan. We're going to drag Michelle's husband, my daughter's husband, into the Avalon. I think it's called the Avalon Nail Salon over there in Poulsbo. We're going to make him get a pedicure with us and his daughter. And he's going to like it. Well, they service champagne over there. Kim can't service champagne over here at the Palm Salon. But I will tell you guys, if you need your nails done, she's amazing. And they do pedicures as well. And I get
Cool.
shellac, on my nails because the shellac, it stays on there for weeks. I usually go 3 weeks between nail.
Oh, that's good. That's a good deal.
Yeah. And they're not terribly expensive. So no, they're amazing. Love her. Love you, Kim. So glad to give her a plug. She's amazing. So anyway,
I think that
Dan, you let me down today. I have to tell you. I was expecting, I wanted to hear about interest rates.
Oh, you know what?
Come
Wait a
on,
minute.
buddy. Step up to the plate.
We got sidetracked, but I have a great chart. I was doing it.
He
While
did
we-
it while we were talking. He forgot
And I
about it, though.
I never put it on. Look at this chart. Look at it.
It's going back up, though. Did you see that, Dan?
Oh yeah, I know. So, but
I hate that. The line goes down like this, interest rates. Are we looking at interest rates or what are we looking at?
yeah, that's the interest rate on the 10-year Treasury note. So that's a 10-year Treasury note yield. So now that we're at the end of this live stream, I can talk wonky stuff.
Okay.
Wonky.
Stop wonky.
We'll get wonky shit going on here. But what we've got, so this is like a 15-minute bar chart, right? So it's really short term, 15-minute bar chart. And you can kind of see how, rates have come down since really they peaked on October 19th. And then this downtrend line starts on like October 27th. So October 19th was officially the peak, but we were hovering over at that peak for like a week. And then once
Hey, Alexa, off, please.
so anyway, so you draw in that little downtrend line, right? And we did a pretty good job of hanging on to that downtrend until the last couple of days. And I
Mhm.
noticed that the last couple of days. And yesterday I was looking at it because so you could kind of see on there where it says 4.08 and then it comes back down, right? And then it kind of bounced back up. And I'm like, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen today, right? And today, in my view, what happened is that they gave people with the traders with profits because the people that were buying bonds up around 5%, 4.997%, they gave them a good reason to sell today. I'm not so if you looked under the hood, the headline employment report was stronger than expected, but when you looked under the hood, if you will, the numbers were terrible, terrible, horrible numbers, right? But nobody looks under the hood. The algorithms that they trade with on Wall Street just look at the headline numbers, right? And
Right.
so on the day that you're trading, and everyone just sort of stands back. They know what's going on. They're not stupid. And so everyone just kind of stands back, lets the algorithms do their work. And what you're probably going to see is for the next 2 weeks, maybe a week, because we have CPI coming out next Thursday, right? Big deal. But CPI next week, which is going to improve, no question about it. So you're probably going to see it drift higher. And I put so what those red lines are. So I just took in a Fibonacci, what they call a Fibonacci retracement. To explain Fibonacci ratios is a discussion for another day, but it draws in a Fibonacci retracement, and so it kind of is targeting around 4.25. I don't think we'll go much past 4.25, and we're at 4.04 right now on the rate. So you may have another 20 basis point. You got to put it in perspective. We bottom at 3.785. We're at 4.042 right now. So what's that? About 30 basis points that we've gone up since the absolute low. And
Right.
you're probably going to see another 20 basis point. Worst case scenario, 20. You might have another 35 basis points left of upside in terms of rate. But that's about it. So it's gonna, and you can see the rates going up just a little bit, and they, but I think once we get through this period, you're going to start to see rates come back down. So give it another couple of weeks, and we should be good to go.
That should be fueling the late January real estate market, is what you're saying, Dan.
Yeah, in February and March. Yeah. You're going to turn into a professional offer writer.
That's what I worry about.
So I think we're going to need to.
I've done that many years now. Turn into a professional offer writer in January, February, March, April, May, June.
I think the settlement coming up from the national, what's NAR stand for?
National Association of Realtors.
Realtors, yes. So in that lawsuit that they've got going on, I think they're going to allow you to charge by the offer that you submit. So like every offer you submit will be worth X amount of money. Like I can charge.
Yeah, I don't think so, Dan. That would be amazing that we would actually get paid or compensated for writing offers, even if they're not accepted. Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be cool? Oh,
I would have made a lot of money.
Oh, happy days.
That my clients wouldn't have been very happy though. So I'm good. I don't mind writing offers for my clients because they're always sincere and we always get them into something. So, and it's always the right house. And so I'm always very proud to submit offers to my clients.
Might be the 15th offer, but.
Yeah, there's been times when I've written 15, 20 offers for sure. And I mean, there were times a couple of years ago where we were running out to see houses within an hour or two of them being listed. I would just literally head over. And if one of my clients could take off work, they would join me. There were times when we were submitting offers sight unseen because we were aware of the neighborhood. Most of the time, I don't like doing that. But it just, it gets to a point where your client can get feeling rather desperate to get into something, especially if it's been a few months. And for this one particular couple, we started in January. And while we were writing offers on all these different places, the prices were going up. And I don't think we got them into a place until it was like May. So there was significant increase in price between when we started writing offers and when we actually got them into a place. So, that's just sometimes what happens. I mean, people don't want to believe that it's going to happen and that the next offer situation is not going to be multiple offers and they're going to be able to write an offer in a normal way and get a home under contract. And there just are times in the year and certain markets where that's just not a realistic expectation. So some people they have to have that happen to them a few times before they understand they have to actually do something different, like submit like a bully offer. So in that case, we actually came in, I think it was 120 over asking price. The property was underpriced and we jumped on it first day on the market, and we knew what the house 2 doors down sold for because we also competed on that one. And so we knew where that one was going to close at. And so we had that in our arsenal, and the listing agent for the house we put an offer in second, he did not know that information. So the other agent did not share that with the other listing agent. So I was in a very privileged situation there, and I felt very comfortable with where my clients came in with their offer, and it worked.
Well, good.
We got them under contract. Yeah. And this has been a couple of years ago. We did get them, I believe we got them fully under underwriting as well. So it was very persuasive having that $120,000 over, and it was a $700,000 price range back then. And so it was a significantly over asking price. But if you were looking at what homes were going over on average, it was, you were looking at 20-25%, if not more. So we were at that sweet spot where we weren't quite that. So,
well, and the thing is,
there were times in the market when, a lot of the multiple offer situations were escalating 25-30% over. And this was that time. It was when the market was just insane.
Yeah.
So it was, you try to hit the like 16 to 18% over asking if you're submitting a bully offer, maybe a little bit more depending on the house and the neighborhood. But you didn't want to go really 25% over, because that's probably not necessary. It's something that you would do in multiple offers.
What's that called? A bully offer?
It's called a bully offer. BULLY. You're trying to bully the seller to take their house off the market before the offer review date. And so it's actually just persuasive. You're trying to offer them an incentive to forego the potential multiple offers and just accept your offer. And so we were able to do that. I believe in this case, they also had an inspection they provided us, and my clients were over the moon. I just went by there this summer and visited them, and I've actually been there several times. I actually delivered their pie on Thanksgiving to them a couple of days before Thanksgiving, because they missed the pie pickup and they ordered a pie. So I went out there and delivered their pie. So it's been lovely seeing them in the house that we bought several years ago. And
when you're making a bully offer, do you talk to the listing agent and say, "We're making a bully offer"?
We don't call that. We don't call it a bully offer to the other agent. But in the industry, sometimes playfully we refer to them as bully offers.
Take
it. Compelling. The actual name is compelling offer, right? So you'd be creating a compelling offer, and your compelling offer hopefully is offering the seller exactly what they want for a closing date. You're obviously hitting the sweet spot when it comes to how much over asking price, depending on the marketplace, right? So sometimes you're going to be 5% over. Sometimes you're going to be at asking. Sometimes you'll be 15 to 20% over asking price, depending on how the property is priced, right? So, if it's overpriced, then, it may not be a competition situation. You might just be able to wait till the offer review date if they set an offer review date. So it has to be very property specific to decide whether you want to submit a compelling offer. I do feel like we are headed into that mode again this spring. I don't think to the degree we've been in past years, but like this last year was, situation where we were seeing things go 5 to 10% over in the spring in South Snohomish, North King County. So even with increasing interest rates. So just, word to the wise, spring is a tough time to buy a home and try to get it for full price. I'm bracing myself. Let's put it that way.
I've got to tell you something. I think you might have just made a great viral video. You could put in the video thing when you edit it up. What's a bully offer? And you'll have hundreds of thousands of
You
people
think I'll get hundreds of thousands of views for calling it a bully offer?
calling it just the word bully offer. Bully. Everyone loves that word, bully. It's a bully offer.
It's a
Yes.
bully offer.
Hey, I got to tell you, the first time I ever ran into anything over list price, we're talking about this. It kind of stirs my memories. 2015, I had some clients that were moving here from France, right? France.
Uh-huh.
And
Wow.
they move over to Seattle. They're looking at houses, and they lost out on a couple offers. And they said, "Doggone it, we're gonna go over ask." And I'm listening to them on the phone. We're gonna offer 50,000 over. Are we gonna qualify for go 50,000 over? We're gonna do. And I'm like, "Are you nuts? Are you absolutely nuts? This has got to be the peak of the market. $50,000
In
over."
2015. Let's
Yes,
keep this into
2015.
context. This is nowhere near the peak of the market. This
Well,
is again an example of where Dan kind of gets himself in trouble.
Well, I didn't say it. I bit my tongue, but I was thinking that. In fact, I was telling my compatriot, his office next door, I said, "Jiminy crickets, these people are nuts." And so they're offering $50,000 over list price. This has got to be the peak of the market. I'm putting that down in my bad predictions category.
We need to have a reel for those.
Yes, I could fill up, a full movie for 2 hours of these bad predictions.
Dan's missed predictions for 2023. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's gonna go away. It's gonna go down to
They topped out, 6.5, and they hit
July 30th.
7%. I said one day we're gonna look back and we're gonna wish we grabbed that 7% interest rate. And you're
Yes.
like, no, interest rates have topped, Kat. I'm like, oh, really? Then, October rolls around and we're looking like 8.5%. And I'm like, oh my God, the market's
not 8.5% with me. No.
No, it wasn't with Dan. I will say
No.
that.
It was
other lenders were at 8.5%. It was not Dan. Dan takes a vow of poverty. And so my clients, when they work with Dan, they get a better rate.
I made sure.
And that ensures Dan is going to stay in the poorhouse for many years to come.
Yes, but it's comfortable. I can't complain. It's comfortable.
I'm not taking a vow of poverty, guys.
I don't mind. There's something about the, like a grilled cheese sandwich with soup for dinner. Soup and grilled cheese sandwich. I do that. You know why I do that? Because I love my clients so much. I love them so much. I have soup and grilled cheese sandwiches for dinner.
Yes.
So there we go. Yes.
Yes. Well, your clients are very appreciative of you, Dan. I will say that. You have a crew.
I have quite a crew. Yes.
You have a cheerleading crew. Yes.
Yes. Well, you know what? On this note, Kat, I'm gonna have to sign off here because I've got to tend to something.
Are you hungry, Dan? Your stomach's growling?
Well, yes. I'm also gonna drain the blood out of my
It
legs.
gets a little hangry,
It does.
We've been on the air for a long time. I think it's been like 2 hours. It was supposed to be like 45 minutes, you guys. I don't know what happened. It's not my fault. That's all, guys. This time it was not my fault.
It was my fault. That's because we were having
Dan. I think we blamed Dan. I'm good with that.
We were having such a good time. It's been a fun chat. It really has
been a fun chat.
It's one of the best
we had
ones.
good information to go over today.
Timely too.
Timely, yes. Yeah.
Yes. So, well,
right,
I tell you what, before we hit the hour and 40-minute mark, we're gonna come up 1 minute short, and I'm gonna end our live stream.
Okay. All right.
Bye
And you guys too, bye TikTokers, bye Facebookers, bye YouTubers.
Bye everyone.
Okay,